Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, our mission is to take this huge report on the state of enterprise AI in 2025 and really, strip away the hype. We want to drill down into the hard data. We're moving past that initial consumer novelty, the fun experimentation, and looking at how companies are actually integrating AI as core, essential infrastructure.
And that framing, infrastructure, that's absolutely the key. Because if you look at history, the story is always the same for a general purpose technology. Think about, the electric grid or the internet. The initial breakthrough is exciting, sure, but the truly economy-shifting value, that only happens after organizations figure out how to translate that capability into scaled, repeatable business use cases.
And it seems like 2025 is that moment.
It is. Based on everything we're seeing, this is the year enterprise AI enters that crucial scaling phase.
Okay, so we're pulling data straight from the front lines here. This is OpenAI's usage metrics from over 1 million business customers. We're tracking everything, the number of seats, API consumption, you name it. And the report, it kind of boils all this down to 4 key findings. And they paint a picture of, well, explosive growth, but also this dramatic divergence.
Right. To summarize, usage is scaling globally, the impact is measurable, growth is accelerating everywhere, and this is the critical part, a gap is widening, a big one.
The gap between the leaders and the laggards.
Exactly. And to really grasp the magnitude of the shift, you have to look where the deepest integration happens. That's the application programming interface, the API. This is where companies aren't just chatting with a model, they're building it directly into their products.
Okay, so this is the real proof point.
It is. And if you need just one hook to understand the speed of this transformation, consider this. The average organizational consumption of reasoning tokens through the API increased a staggering 320 times year over year.
Whoa, hold on. Let's unpack that. 320 times. That's not a small number. Why are reasoning tokens specifically the key indicator here? Why does that matter so much?
Well, because simple message volume, that can be inflated by, simple, low-stakes questions. Reasoning tokens, though, they measure the consumption for complex, multi-step tasks. We're talking data analysis, chain of thought processing, complex code generation. When consumption of that metric goes up 320x, it's a signal of systemic production-level reliance.
Well, it's not just write an email for me.
It's run this critical business process for me. That's the difference.
Okay, that makes sense. So with that signal of deep integration in mind, what do the sheer metrics of scale look like for just the average corporate user? What's the penetration level?
It's massive. OpenAI is now serving over 7 million ChatGPT workplace seats. That's institutional. On top of that, total weekly enterprise message volume has grown about 8 times in the last year. And, crucially, the intensity is deepening. The average worker is sending 30% more messages now than they were a year ago.
So we're really past that try-it-once phase. This is becoming a daily corporate habit.
A routine, exactly.
And this is where I think the maturity really shows. The shift from a general chat box to these highly customized, repeatable tasks, custom GPTs and projects. These are things companies build for specific internal jobs, right? Like HR onboarding or compliance checks.
Precisely. This is where the organization starts to codify its own knowledge, its own processes into the AI tool. And the adoption of these custom tools is just phenomenal. Weekly users of custom GPTs and projects, it increased by about 19 times year to date.
So institutional knowledge is now being wrapped into these automated scalable tools. And the example of the bank, BBVA, that's just wild. They're using more than 4,000 custom GPTs. That's not just workflow improvement. That's AI becoming the framework for daily operations. It's how work gets done now.
It is the method of work. And that scale, it introduces a new layer of complexity, too. I mean, managing 4,000 specialized tools requires incredible governance, which is a key insight for you listening. It's not enough to just build them. You have to manage them.
Right.
And when you combine that custom GPT usage with the API consumption, that 320x increase we talked about, it paints a very clear picture. AI is no longer a peripheral piece of software. It's becoming the core development platform.
And the developer traction numbers seem to back that up. Tools like Codex for code generation and refactoring. It saw a 2x increase in weekly active users and a 50% jump in weekly messages in just 6 weeks. So AI-assisted development is accelerating and fast.
Absolutely. The systems are self-reinforcing. AI helps create the code that then deploys the next layer of AI integration. It's a flywheel.
Okay, so the scale is undeniable. Let's pivot then. Let's look at the ROI for the individual worker. When you actually embed this into your daily rhythm, what's the gain?
The return is, it's striking. The survey data shows 75% of workers report improved speed or quality in their output. And when we quantify the time saved, the average ChatGPT enterprise user saves between 40 and 60 minutes per active day.
An hour back.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yep.
That's fantastic. But I have to ask, is that time truly saved? Or is it just shifted to, reviewing AI output and fact-checking?
Yeah.
What do the sources say about the net gain?
That's a crucial question. And the report focuses on net time saved. So this is time that's genuinely freed up, redirected to higher value tasks, or just, taken on back by the employee. And for those in more technical or communication heavy roles, data science, engineering, the savings are even higher, like 60 to 80 minutes a day.
These aren't just minor bumps, then. They're fundamental operational gains.
They are. And the proof is in the operational stats. 87% of IT workers report faster issue resolution. 73% of engineers report faster code delivery. 85% of marketing teams, faster
Sure.
campaign execution.
That's across the board.
It really is. It's optimized for general business process acceleration.
The finding I thought was particularly powerful was this idea of the equalizing effect. AI isn't just making experts faster, it's actually expanding who can perform technical tasks. It's democratizing expertise.
It's almost like giving every generalist a suite of specialized assistants. You don't have to be a specialist anymore to produce really high quality output. And we see this in the raw data. Coding-related messages outside of the usual engineering and IT departments, so we're talking about people in HR, sales, finance,
Right.
their use of coding tools grew by an average of 36% over 6 months. That is a measurable restructuring of the corporate skill map.
But the data also has a really crucial caveat here, showing that the benefits, they scale directly with intensity. If you're just using it for basic summaries, you're not getting the full return, are you?
Not at all. The correlation is crystal clear. Workers saving more than 10 hours a week use 8 times more credits than those saving 0 hours. The benefits are directly proportional to the depth and breadth of use. Users who engage across, say, 7 distinct task types report 5 times more time saved than those who only use it for 4.
So AI really rewards the polymath user, the person who explores all its capabilities.
That's a great way to put it.
So that sets the stage for the global landscape. Is this acceleration just in a few hypersectors, or is it broad-based?
It's broad, but the pace is wildly different, and that's creating this competitive divergence. If you look at the fastest growth rates, tech leads at 11x, but healthcare is at 8x, and manufacturing at 7x. These are huge, traditionally slower-moving industries that are now aggressively pivoting to close that gap.
And then on the other side, you have the early adopters, the ones with the highest volumes already, professional services, finance, and tech. What's their strategic focus?
So tech companies, they're heavily using the API for customer-facing applications, embedding assistants right into their software, that sort of thing. They're turning AI into product features.
What about professional services? They're huge consumers.
They're concentrating their API spend on coding and developer tools, basically building custom proprietary tooling to accelerate delivery for their clients, using AI to make their core service faster and more unique.
And finance, where do they start? Is it trading? Risk?
It often starts with customer support. It's a big, scalable cost center where the ROI is immediately visible. Once they prove it there, then they move into more sensitive areas. They're investing heavily in coding for system migration, risk analysis, and compliance.
And we're seeing this trend go global, too.
Oh, absolutely. The international market is critical now. API customer growth outside the U.S. exceeded 70% in the last 6 months. But look at the velocity in some of these markets. Australia is up 187% in new paying business customers. Brazil, 161%. The Netherlands, 153%. While the U.S., Germany, and Japan are still the most active by volume, the international field is closing the distance fast.
Which leads us right to that fourth key finding, the growing divide. When growth is this explosive, not everyone keeps pace. And that's creating a separation between the leaders and, well, everyone else.
We see this gap at both the individual level and the firm level. Let's start with the individual frontier worker. That's the top 5%. These users send 6 times more messages than the median worker.
6 times more. That is a huge productivity gulf. But it gets even wider when you look at high-value tasks, right?
Dramatically so. The biggest gap is in coding. Frontier workers send 17 times more messages there. For data analysis, it's 16 times more usage. So the top performers aren't just using it more often, they're using the most powerful tools for the most valuable tasks.
But if the benefits are so obvious, an hour saved a day, new skills, why hasn't the median worker caught up? Is it a training thing?
It's likely a mix of things, but the data shows there's just vast headroom for more adoption.
Yeah.
Get this. Even among monthly active enterprise users, 19% have never used data analysis, 14% have never used reasoning tools, 12% have never even used the built-in search. So the meeting worker is using the chat box, but they haven't learned to leverage the advanced stuff yet.
And the firm-level gap mirrors that.
Precisely. Frontier firms generate twice as many messages per seat. But here's the killer metric. They generate 7 times more messages to custom GPTs. That's 7x. That's the proof they're not just letting employees experiment, they are standardizing workflows. They are embedding AI organizationally.
So if you're listening to this, you need the blueprint. What are these leading firms doing right?
The report distills a clear 5-point plan. First, deep system integration, giving AI secure, context-aware access to company data. Second, workflow standardization and reuse, actively promoting those custom GPTs and API-powered assistants.
Integration and standardization. What about leadership? Is it top-down?
It has to be. That's number 3. Executive leadership and sponsorship. Setting mandates, securing resources. Fourth is data readiness and evaluations, building clean data pipelines and constantly tracking model performance.
And the final piece, the people part.
Deliberate change management. That's 5. They create structures to speed up learning, combining centralized governance with embedded AI champions in every department. The report is very clear on this. The constraint is no longer the technology. It's organizational readiness.
Okay, let's ground this with some case studies because that's where ROI goes from save time to real business impact.
Right. Take Intercom. They built FinVoice on the real-time API to handle customer service calls. They cut latency by 48%. And FinVoice now resolves 53% of calls end-to-end. That is saving their customers hundreds of millions of dollars a year.
And then there's Lowe's. They deployed Milo for online customers and Milo Companion for in-store associates.
And they're answering nearly 1 million questions a month, but here's the revenue connection. The online conversion rate more than doubles when customers use Milo. In the store, customer satisfaction scores increase 200 basis points when associates use the companion tool. That's AI directly leading to higher sales and happier customers.
Wow. And finally, Moderna. Product development. Speed market is everything there.
Everything. Their target product profile, the blueprint for a new drug, usually takes weeks of work, reviewing hundreds of pages of evidence. Using ChatGPT Enterprise, they've reduced a core analytical step in that process, from weeks to hours. In drug development, making higher quality decisions that much faster can fundamentally shift your entire competitive position.
So what does this all boil down to for you, our listener? The data is overwhelming. AI adoption is broad, it's accelerating. But the real differentiator is depth. The shift from basic chat to embedding AI across multiple systems.
Right. The benefits you get are directly linked to that integration. The opportunity isn't just giving everyone a productivity tool. It's moving AI from a peripheral IT project to core organizational infrastructure. That's where you get that 7x advantage.
And that brings us to our final provocative thought for you to chew on. Leading firms are starting to see AI not just as a cost saver, but as a durable engine for revenue growth, for competitive advantage. They're translating these capabilities into new products, faster iteration, deeper market personalization. Now, the question for you is this: how quickly can your organization shift AI from a necessity that saves money to a value creator that fundamentally redefines your market position? That's the deep dive. We'll see you next time.